They are the farmers of our sea, but many of our state's commercial fishermen feel forgotten.
Nobody cares.
They're burned by high fuel prices.
There's not enough shrimp to justify the fuel I burn.
They're battered by foreign competition.
We can't compete with the prices.
They're tangled in regulations.
Over the years, they've basically regulated the commercial fishermen into oblivion.
And sometimes there's no labor to clean their catch.
It's devastated this county, and it's this way all up and down the coast.
Many commercial fishermen are abandoning their ships, and their working waterfront is being gobbled up by development.
The fisherman, before it's over with, he's going to be run off.
Is our state's commercial fishing industry and an important part of our heritage at the end of the road?
From WRAL News, this is Focal Point.
Commercial fishing is more than just a business. It's part of the character of our coast. It's woven into the fabric of our state as much as textiles and tobacco. But is it headed in the same direction? Many in the fishing industry think so. Our focal point, the industry's net loss and what it means to our state.
John Dyer started shrimping about 20 years ago.
Made a good living at it.
Times have changed.
I've seen 100 boats right in this river, many a time. 100 boats, many a time, right here where we're at. And you look around you, take that camera and look around, see what you see.
Our camera sees only Dyer's boat. The boats back in Harker's Island Harbor reflect the reality. Many haven't left the dock all season because of high fuel prices.
It's just a whole different change of life, a whole different change of way of working than we used to work.
Seagulls think we got something for them to eat.
Over in Morehead City, P.D. Mason's shrimp trawler should be out today.
This week here we had 4,000 pounds of shrimp.
The price he gets for shrimp often falls short of the price he pays for fuel.
So that's a lot of your profit.
Mason compares notes from shrimp sales in 2000 to this year. Back then, he got paid $2.75 a pound for his large shrimp.
This year, that same shrimp was $1.60. Fuel was 99 cents a gallon. This year, $4.25 a gallon.
Since 2000, the average price fishermen get for shrimp has dropped from $2.46 a pound to $1.85 a pound, while the average price of diesel fuel has jumped from $1.50 to $4.14.
You can't go if shrimp aren't plentiful.
Petey says on some trips, fishermen don't catch enough shrimp to cover their fuel costs. Shrimp prices have not kept pace with fuel prices because of a flood of imported shrimp that began hitting the U.S. market around 2002.
We can't compete with those foreign countries. They don't have the regulations we have. They don't have the living standards we have. And they can put a cheap product on the market.
Mason says imported shrimp may be cheaper, but it's not better.
I think if people knew what those shrimp ate that they eat, I don't think they would eat them. This lets the fish out.
Mason is a member of the Southern Shrimp Alliance, an organization that's been lobbying Congress for more testing of imported shrimp and other seafood. The organization has also pushed for more tariffs to stem the tide of foreign imports, and it works to educate consumers about the benefits of domestic wild-caught shrimp.
It's a better product. It's safer to eat. It tastes better.
Still, many local restaurants, even seafood restaurants on the coast, opt for the cheaper imports.
Probably 90% of them.
Closer to the shore, you'll see the shrimp.
John Dyer says too many customers don't know the difference.
They think they're eating our shrimp, and they're not. They're eating the imported shrimp.
Dyer wants labels on packaging and menus.
If I want a North Carolina shrimp, it should say North Carolina shrimp. If I want an imported shrimp, it should say imported shrimp.
He says that would help give U.S. shrimpers some leverage against foreign competition.
There'd be more of a demand for our product than what there is. And if there's no demand for our shrimp, Who's left holding the bag? Us, the fishermen.
Fishermen who have no control over imports or fuel prices.
I'm just a common working man, you know what I mean? And all I know is this business has went from a healthy business that we all could make a good, honest living at to nothing, you know what I mean? It's nothing. I'm done. If the next year or more, I ain't gonna fight it. I'm tired of fighting it.
Next, how can the industry compete against imports, and can our government help?
I mean, we're supposed to keep the resource viable, but to me, the commercial fisherman is an endangered species just like every fish is in the water.
You're watching Focal Point from WRAL News.
There's little the commercial fishing industry can do about fuel prices. And since about 80% of the seafood we consume in the United States is imported, it looks like foreign competition is here to stay. Some say better marketing could help North Carolina fishermen, but there are challenges there, too.
To me, when the water's calm and you out here and you can see a fish come up and grab a bug, you know, things like that are just amazing to me. I just enjoy it. The water's just pretty. I just love the water.
It's a good thing Ann Brady's work is a labor of love because there isn't much money in it.
This used to be a thriving place.
Until imported crab started hitting the U.S. market.
We can't compete with the prices. I had one of my dealers tell me he could have crabs flown in cheaper than he could buy them from me. Now you tell me what sense that makes.
Over the last decade, more than 35 of the state's 43 crab processing facilities closed.
The imported crab meat market has absolutely destroyed the domestic market.
The state has a marketing campaign to promote North Carolina seafood, including crab meat. There are local marketing efforts, too. Libby Eaton is on the board of a marketing program called Carteret Catch.
We wanted to promote the heritage of the commercial fishermen. So kind of like Maine lobster, we wanted to take Carteret Catch and brand name it, give it a logo so we can market it and promote our fresh local seafood.
Eaton and her husband, who is a chef, own Bistro by the Sea in Morehead City. They're participating at Carteret Catch by serving and promoting local seafood.
We have a traceability, so we know who's handling it, where it's coming from, how it's stored, as opposed to imported. You get it months later, it's frozen. You don't know how it was raised or who caught it or any of that. So it's very important to us.
The local seafood used by Bistro by the Sea comes prepared, packaged, and ready to cook, making it as convenient to use as imports. It comes from Pamlico Packing Company, which distributes both local and imported seafood. Co-owner Don Cross says some restaurants can't afford the higher price of fresh, local seafood.
They have to use product that is imported, it is cheaper, basically to survive. So, because they can't get $14, $15 out of a flounder plate. They're trying to get $8.95.
That may explain why only 9 of the nearly 50 independently owned seafood restaurants in the county are part of the Carteret Catch program.
It's really, really tough on the restaurants, and therefore it's really tough on the commercial fishermen.
The answer may be finding new products to market.
Triggerfish you used to couldn't give away around here, and now they sell for good money because they've become popular because the local chefs really pushed them because it was a quality fish.
Let me get a grouper fingers and oysters for a salad, please.
Dealers and the fishermen they buy from may need to market their products to high-end restaurants.
Basically, what we've had our fisheries turned into is from a commodity fishery into a niche fishery, which now you either have to learn to market and survive or you won't survive.
As a commodity, fish are often shipped out directly from the boat.
That fish is worth a fraction of what a processed, say, flounder fillet is worth in the fish house or the fish market.
Daniel says for fishermen to get more for their catch, they need to get into the business of processing their catch to add to its value.
And believe me, if it was that simple, everybody would be processing on the water and everybody would be doing value added. It's not that simple. It's very difficult.
Cross says part of the difficulty is finding cheap labor. That problem was made worse this year by Congress's failure to renew legislation that allows H-2B workers to come in from Mexico. H-2B workers are legal workers who come to the U.S. to fill seasonal labor shortages, then return.
Right now, this year in the crab industry, we've got a glut of crabs, but we don't have any pickers. The dealers are telling the fishermen not to go or to limit the amount that they go because there's no market for their product.
Madam Mesquite Seafood in High County is picking a lot less crab this year because it has far fewer workers.
And crabbers are dumping crabs because they cannot sell them. It's devastated this county, and it's this way all up and down the coast.
Last year, Carawan had 55 workers picking about 20,000 pounds a day. This year, less than 10 workers are picking about 2,500 pounds a day.
We're just trying to keep our doors open, hoping that Congress is going to listen to the pleas of the citizens to be able to keep their companies.
Because it's attached to the controversial immigration legislation, the H-2B worker bill is stalled in Congress. Carawan says that means legislation designed to crack down on illegal immigration is preventing businesses like hers from getting legal workers and may encourage some to hire illegal ones instead.
I'm sorry, but the Congress has made it where people have to do what they have to do to keep their doors open.
The sudden labor shortage cripples an industry already damaged by foreign imports.
They can make the crab meat for just pennies where we have to pay minimum wage at least. When they're flooding the country with it, it makes it a lot harder for us.
Harder on fishermen like Ann Brady, too.
Imports have hurt us. Development's hurt. Pollution hurts. You can come out here and catch 20, 25 boxes. You're lucky to get 10. It means I only got just a few years left.
Next is time also running out for the working waterfront, where fishermen unload and sell their catch.
I wish it would be a better future for them, I really do.
You're watching Focal Point from WRAL News.
Fish houses are the places along the coast where commercial fishermen unload and sell their catch. But as more fishermen leave the industry, more of the fish houses disappear. In many cases, they're replaced by vacation homes and marinas. That waterfront access is critical to the fishing industry's future.
Yeah, that was our working area.
Wallace Garner ran a clam house on Harker's Island for about 14 years.
I even had a clam hatchery there, raised clams, something nobody else was doing. We bought fish too. We bought all kinds of stuff. I had to be jumping around to get everything done.
But the business slowed down. Garner leased it to another operator who tried to make a go of it, but couldn't.
If somebody could have kept on doing it, that would have been fine with me. Sure would have.
With the property sitting idle, Garner decided to sell it to a developer who plans to build homes and a marina there.
I just sold it for $2 million and let trailer park, the marina, and the whole thing go. And I think now it's time that Wallace does something for himself.
Garner's property is going the way of much of this island.
All Harker's Island is built all over now. Everywhere you look.
This is West Bay.
Developer Mike Laws purchased a large tract of land right next to Garner's old clam operation.
Just a gorgeous place to vacation and to live.
His new West Bay subdivision is named for the water it overlooks. He's starting another development on the other side of the island called James Creek.
It's a good thing for me. This is my business. It is my career. It's a good thing for people who want to move into the area.
But is it good for the local fishing industry? Some worry about runoff from waterfront development polluting the water.
You know, certainly the best thing for the resource would be for there to be no development along the coast.
But the head of the State Division of Coastal Management says that's not possible. The agency does enforce buffers and other restrictions that help minimize the impact of runoff from coastal development.
We certainly aren't here to completely stop development, but to allow development to proceed in a manner that protects the resource. And that is a big challenge for our agency.
We're just now cutting the roads in.
Developments like Mike Law's have to be approved by more than a dozen federal and state regulatory agencies before the State Division of Coastal Management will issue a final permit to proceed.
We don't just get to come in and buy a tract of land and, and say it's a subdivision and sell and make our money and leave. It's a lot of oversight, and there could be more.
When it comes to development, some say the loss of waterfront access is a bigger threat to fishermen than pollution.
I wish it would be a better future for them, I really do. But as long as they stop and buy up every little waterfront, or to put a house on, there's not that much that fishermen can get into.
Higher property values and taxes have made it harder for struggling fishermen to hold on to waterfront property.
The fisherman, before it's over with, he's going to be run off.
A recent North Carolina Sea Grant study found that almost a third of the state's fish houses have closed over the last 5 years. The General Assembly created the $20 million Waterfront Access and Marine Industry Fund in 2007 to acquire waterfront property for public access.
Part of the idea of that was to give the recreational access, but also recognizing that many of the fish houses are moving off the water and that the commercial fishermen are in need of ramps and dock space as well as recreational folks are.
Your next place is the only other fish house left down here.
But the state may also have to secure facilities that will accommodate large fishing boats with fish houses on site that can be shared by area fishermen who can sell their catch to dealers.
There is salvation in that point if we get these programs and get these facilities approved.
The Outer Banks are here due east.
Mike Laws believes coastal development and commercial fishing can exist together.
We want that. That is part of the allure for us to sell our property, is that fishing village, this quiet little fishing village. We don't want to see that go away. We want it to remain, and we want to support it.
Law says residential developments can have a greater economic impact on the community than some of the fishing operations they may replace.
There is a lot of work that is generated from development, as well as the houses, the building industry, a tremendous amount.
And the people who live or vacation in his development's new homes have an economic impact, too.
They spend a lot of money, and they need local services.
It's all new development. All these homes, all them homes, they put all them homes in.
Parker's Island shrimper John Dyer says new homes mean new customers.
I believe it helps the industry because the people are here. It brings the people. We need the people to eat our shrimp.
Next, is the government hurting the industry more than helping it?
And our primary goal is to ensure sustainable fisheries for everybody.
To learn more about the issues covered in this episode of Focal Point, visit WRAL.com, click on News, and then Documentaries.
Commercial fishermen say they've been hurt by imports, pollution, development, and one more thing, government regulations. It's a decades-old complaint. But regulators say they sometimes have to inflict short-term pain for the industry to enjoy long-term health.
The State Division of Marine Fisheries enforces both state and federal fishing regulations. That means limiting the catch and sometimes shutting it down completely.
All stocks are moving towards quotas and limited access privileges. So the amount of fish available to the fishermen is being reduced, both commercial and recreational.
Some in the industry say the catch restrictions make it hard for commercial fishermen to fend off foreign competition.
Anytime you open the door on any species that you can produce domestically, but they don't let you produce, then you turn it into a commodity product and open it up for imports to compete against it, and naturally it hurts. It hurts all the time.
President Bush reauthorized the Magnuson-Stevens Act in 2007, which mandates catch limits to prevent overfishing.
I mean, it was designed to protect our resources and it has protected the resources and destroyed the fishermen.
Cross says regulators need to pay more attention to the economic consequences of their decisions. He says some catch limits need to be lifted to help fishermen compete with imports and higher fuel prices.
The commercial fisherman has to be considered equally in every plan that's developed, or just shut it down, close it, period. You know, be done with it, because that's what it's coming to.
The Division of Marine Fishery says it eases rules when it can to allow fishermen to catch more, but it has to find a balance to ensure the long-term health of the fishery.
A lot of these species are overfished, you know, and there may be a real opportunity once those stocks recover and rebound to provide fisheries to the commercial guys that they haven't had in a long time.
The state hopes that managing the resource, marketing the product, and maintaining waterfront access will save our state's commercial fishing industry. But as development devours waterfront property, imports eat into profits, and rules keep some fishermen from fishing, some watermen see little hope on the horizon.
There's only a handful of us left, and every year more and more gets out of it. Nobody letting their children get in it. And when we're done, it's done. And it seems like nobody cares about the commercial fishermen at all.